There's been a serious outbreak of measles that continues to spread through this country. Washington governor now declaring an emergency at this point, too. And Dr. Gottlieb, you've been writing about this and really kind of sounding off on a problem that we are creating ourselves because we are refusing to have some people vaccinated. Why don't you talk about what your concern is?
Right, and sounding off for a long time now because this risk has been building. This is an avoidable tragedy. We had largely vanquished measles from the United States around the year 2000, and we're starting to see resurgence of this very deadly disease. It's also extremely contagious, highly contagious. For every person infected with measles, they'll go on to infect 9 to 10 other people who aren't vaccinated. Again, this is an avoidable tragedy. This is a result of the fact that vaccination rates are falling. If you look in the Pacific Northwest, we're seeing this outbreak right now. About 8% of kindergartners were exempted. Their parents sought an exemption from vaccination. And so as vaccination rates decline, these kinds of epidemics are going to become more common.
I mean, this is a disease that we thought we had eradicated from the United States almost 20 years ago. What happened? Why is it because we don't see measles, because we forget how deadly some of these diseases are, that other issues pop up and people think that it's okay to not get vaccinations?
I think it's a result of some complacency. I think it's a result of people believing, well, if everyone else gets vaccinated, my child doesn't have to. I think that people have, some casual fears around putting a medical product, a complex medical product, into an otherwise healthy child. But these vaccines are extremely safe and effective. The measles vaccine is from the 1960s. It's one of the most effective vaccines that we have. After 2 doses, it's 97% effective at preventing measles. It's been also one of the most exhaustively studied modern medical products in history. It's been a subject of enormous studies funded by the federal government, in part because of the concerns that people had around MMR, around the measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine. The government sought to do very large, very well-conducted studies to eliminate those fears, and those studies were completed. They showed no link between the vaccine and the prevailing concern that it could somehow cause autism. That's been firmly debunked now, and we need to accept the results of that scientific evidence, including studies that have, looked at 500,000 children in one study, a CDC study done with Danish medical authorities. So these are very large medical studies.
Doctor, I do have friends who have said, look, my child developed issues and symptoms of either autism or something on the spectrum right around the time they got these shots. Why would that be?
Well, the reality is that children who are going to display symptoms of autism and other developmental disorders, those start to manifest or start to become self-evident right around the time when kids are getting vaccinated. That's when you start to see developmental disorders, when you see language not developing properly or motor skills not developing properly. So that doesn't mean that the vaccine caused those symptoms. Those symptoms oftentimes become evident right around that age. And I think that's what's happening. Kids are getting vaccinated, and parents are starting to notice changes in their children right around the age because the kids are developing along a pattern that isn't consistent with normal developmental behavior, and they're linking the two when the two aren't correlated.